You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Tony. The authors are real, their stories leave clues, and our inferences are vital. This is Reader's Court.
Please be seated. This week on Reader's Court, I will take you deep into a mysterious case to examine the hard-hitting evidence, determine the verdict, and deliver literary justice. As a result of today's trial, you'll be able to use textual evidence to make inferences about literature. And we'll start the proceedings right after this. On our docket for today is the case of the lady or the tiger. Never before has our court seen a case with such a vital need for top-notch inferencing. You read this story last week, so if it pleases the court, I'll provide a quick refresher. In a semi-barbaric kingdom, the king's system of justice is a game of chance in an arena where the accused must choose between two doors. One hides a deadly tiger, proving guilt. The other, a beautiful lady to marry, proving innocence. Our case centers around the king's daughter and her forbidden love. Her lover, now deemed a criminal by the king, faces the arena. The author explicitly states that the princess discovers which door will open to the tiger, ensuring her lover's death, and which will open to the lady, ensuring he must marry another woman. The question before our court is, which fate did the lady choose for the man accused of loving her? In this court, we can't simply stop at the explicit ideas that authors directly state in their stories to gather our evidence. The full story lies in the implicit ideas that lurk beneath the surface of the text. As defenders of literary justice, we must determine these implicit details by making inferences based on clues the author provides. Inferences are conclusions based on evidence and reasoning. So let's take a closer look at the evidence before our court today. Exhibit 1. The Princess. What evidence do we have about the princess's character? The text states that the semi-barbaric king had a daughter as blooming as his most florid fancies, and with a soul as fervent and imperious as his own. We can see the words the author has written, but what more can we learn about the princess by making inferences based on this evidence? Let's follow the clues. She has a soul as fervent and imperious as her father. Fervent means passionate, and imperious means arrogant. This means that the princess is passionate and arrogant like her father, the man who enjoys watching accused men face his barbaric arena of justice. What might this comparison to her father say about the princess? Even though the author does not come right out and tell us, we can follow textual clues to make our own inferences about the princess's character and choices. Which verdict do you think the clues support so far? Did the door open to the lady or the tiger? Let's continue gathering clues and take a look at Exhibit 2, the young man. What evidence do we have about his relationship with the princess that can add to our case? Take a moment to read this evidence and consider what clues it provides you about their relationship. We can see that the princess was satisfied and she loved him. And what do you infer about her love for him based on the clue that it had enough of barbarism in it to make it exceedingly warm and strong? You might infer that the princess truly and deeply loved this young man. From another perspective, these clues might lead you to infer that her barbaric ways made this love more of a superficial kind of love that didn't actually run very deep. In Reader's Court, we understand that some people will read the clues one way, while others may follow those same clues to different conclusions. This is why we must always hold tightly to the evidence and use the clues of the text to guide the way. In fact, the more evidence we take into account, the more informed our inferences become. Now, I submit into evidence Exhibit 3, the decision. Take a moment to read this evidence and consider what additional clues it provides you about the princess's decision. What can you infer about the princess's decision based upon these clues? You might say that she loved him too much to send him to the cruel fangs of the tiger, so she surely would have led him to the lady. What can you infer about the princess's decision if you add these clues? Maybe her jealousy about the other woman and signs of barbarism in her character point to the inference that she would have led him to the tiger, preferring his death to watching him marry another woman. Some of you might read the clues differently. So, who is correct? Well, we have followed the clues to make inferences about the implicit ideas between the lines of the story. The job of literary justice is never easy. And often, there is no perfectly clear and correct answer. As readers, we must continuously take in clues and adjust our thinking as we draw conclusions about the text. So, after examining the evidence of the case before us today, what is your verdict? Did the princess lead the young man to the lady or the tiger? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I leave this task to you. You are the key to unlocking a full understanding of the text. You see, in Reader's Court, only you, the reader, can be the judge. After you reflect more on your verdict, you'll move on to the next big case before our court, a story called A Jury of Her Peers by Susan Glaspell. You'll have the opportunity to administer literary justice as you examine the evidence and make inferences to draw conclusions about the story. Remember to follow the clues as you make informed inferences about the literature you will read. As readers, the verdict is always in your hands. Thank you for your service in our courtroom today. It is dedicated reading citizens like yourselves who ensure there is literary justice for all. Court is adjourned.